Shalom and happy new afternoon. This is the English version of the former one, so I had to make a distinction between this one and the one before that started like that, in order for all my Israeli Hebrew speaking not to be confused and think that it's the same one and perhaps avoid watching this again. The name and title is Turtles and Butchers. In Hebrew it was Tzabim vekatzabim. Yeah, it's like a trick. I'm wearing the same shirt like the former one because it started with showing that it's a shirt from Val d'Isère 30 years ago, and I was admitting there or confessing or being proud, depend how you think or depend how my face look, um, that I'm not throwing everything immediately to the laundry, but I try to hang it to like refresh or to re-air, how we say in Hebrew, and perhaps sometimes wear it again or again and again before actually putting in the laundry. Anyway, it was a serious topic and you can see this is פעמוני רוח, like wind bells, and I think it's interrupting the audio, so I will close this door and we have like intimate, lovely silence. I hope it's not too romantic for you to be defocusing from the seriousness of the topic. I was talking about my father, who is constantly reading the left wing newspapers and constantly comes to me bitter and upset, and he cannot understand how those people can think like that and how they can even talk like that. And he was never in the, I don't know how many years that I remember, never even close to accept even one of the suggestions or ideas that brought from the other party, and those were sometimes intelligent people, even most of the time intelligent people, intelligent allegations. Sometimes even I think that they are like right and correct. And it raises the questions. First of all, I said that, and I think it's very nice that some people read and insist on reading the other parties' articles and saying and not sticking into their fellow or I don't know, those scholarships in which they adhere anyway. And I thought that it's very important. It helps them not becoming like shielded and enjoying the warmth and the cuddling of the scholarship and enjoying being like petted by the ideas that they already know and adhere, but vice versa, they are open and exposed to the not other party. I said that perhaps it's time to talk about a spectrum, because we are all in a spectrum. If any of you ever read the articles or new articles about autism, and every experienced woman in the crowd may know that we, the boys, are by definition at a certain point, whatever, certain somewhere in this autism spectrum. I'm expecting a smile now. And anyway, that's because putting people by definition in two opposite groups is bringing us into a conflict, maybe premature, before it's required. And then I thought about the style that every newspaper is using. What would be the best style to use if you want to convince other people to bring them closer to you? And I was suggesting that instead of being like straightforward, harsh, and accusing ourselves and accusing the other side, perhaps it might be better to start like the opposite, with some foreplay journalism, some lubrication, maybe a little massages to the ego of the other wing to show them that you understand and respect the serious allegation and interest that they want to protect, blah, blah, blah. But on the other side, or on the other hand, or even not on the other hand, in parallel, it's also important to think like that. In this case, in that way, the other party, so-called, from the other side of the spectrum, will not immediately close his ears and start like boiling inside. I was doing some mimics about the turtles that are being like shielded in their scholarship, but that was for 2 minutes ago in the translation. And that's the basic principle. If you want, first, maybe it's interesting to listen and read also other part of the spectrum, and not only what your colleagues from the same scholarship are thinking. And the second, when you talk or want to convince, perhaps it's more effective to use some salad and lettuce before you bring your steak if you are talking to vegetarians. Thanks.